Welcome to EnglightenPro, where you speak English like a native, faster than ever.
Hello everyone, and a big welcome back to EnglightenPro. This is the place where we work together to help you speak English clearly, feel really confident when you're talking, and sound just like someone who uses English every single day, one helpful conversation at a time. I'm Emily, and I'm here as your friend and guide. Now, today we're going to talk about something that I know a lot of you who are learning English have wondered about. And that's this question: why do I still not sound like I speak English well, even after learning for quite a long time? If you've ever felt that way, you know the individual words, you understand how to put the sentences together in your head, but when you actually speak, it still feels difficult or just not natural. Please know this. You are absolutely not the only one feeling this way, and you are definitely doing okay. Often, the key to sounding more natural isn't just about what you've learned, but more about how people who speak English every day actually communicate. So, take a nice deep breath with me, try to relax your shoulders, and let's really look at what makes English sound natural and, well, easy. We're going to figure out some of the things that might be holding you back a little bit, and even more importantly, I'm going to give you some simple and effective ways to start getting better. Alright, here's the main idea I want you to understand today. Usually, when people are learning English, there's a big focus on things like knowing a whole lot of individual words, trying to make absolutely perfect sentences, focusing a lot on grammar rules, and memorizing long lists of different rules. Now, here's where it gets interesting. People who speak English every day, they don't usually think about all those grammar rules while they're talking. Their speaking comes from something a little different. It comes from the way the words naturally sound together. We call that rhythm, and from using common groups of words that just flow together, and from saying things more automatically, without having to think about every single word. Think for a moment about when you're speaking your own native language. Do you consciously go through all the little grammar rules every single time you want to say something? Probably not. You speak using patterns and combinations of words that just naturally go together. And that's the same kind of feeling we want to develop in English. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, but Emily, I do know a lot of the rules. So why is it that I still stop and can't speak as easily as I'd like? Well, often the reason for that hesitation is because you're thinking in your own language first. If you're always translating in your head, changing what you want to say from your language into English word by word before you actually speak, it takes up a lot of valuable time. And it can make your English sound a little bit, not as smooth, maybe even a little robotic. And please remember this, it's really not your fault if your speaking feels like this. It could be that you were taught in a way that put a lot of emphasis on those rules, and maybe not enough on how people really talk in everyday situations. Our goal here isn't to speak with perfect, robotic grammar. We want to speak in a way that's easy, natural, and comfortable. And that brings us to a really helpful tool that can make speaking English more easily a reality for you. And we call these word groups, or sometimes you might hear them called chunks. So, what exactly are these word groups? Well, think of them as small, ready-made sets of words that people who speak English every day often use together as one single unit. These little groups of words have a meaning as a whole, and sometimes that meaning is a little bit different from what each individual word means on its own. Imagine them almost like ready-made parts for building things. Instead of taking each tiny little piece, each individual word, and trying to put them all together perfectly to make a sentence, you can often just use these handy, ready-made word groups. This can make your speaking much faster, a lot smoother, and it will definitely help you sound more like someone who speaks English every day. Alright, let's look at some examples of these word groups to make this clearer. The first one is, and I'm sure you've heard this one before, I'm good, thanks. Now, when someone says that, what does it really mean? Well, it means, I am feeling well, thank you. It's just a very normal, polite answer that people give when someone asks them, how are you? Another really common one that you'll hear all the time is, no worries. When someone says no worries, what they're saying is, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's just a short, everyday way to reassure someone that something isn't a problem. And here's a third example for you, sounds like a plan. When someone suggests an idea, and you agree with it, instead of just saying yes, a very natural thing to say is, sounds like a plan. What you're really saying is, that seems like a good idea. I agree. It's just a very natural way to show that you agree with something. Now, how can you learn these word groups effectively? Well, here are a few key things to keep in mind. First, learn the whole group. Don't try to break it down and learn each individual word separately at first. Really focus on understanding what the whole group of words means together and how it's typically used. Second, try not to think in your own language first, at least not right at the beginning. Try to understand the meaning of the entire group of words in English, without immediately translating it back into your native language in your head. This will really help you start to think in English patterns. And third, use them a lot. Saying these word groups again and again, and actively trying to use them when you're speaking, will make them feel more and more normal when you talk. We're actually going to practice some of these together in just a little bit, so you can try this out for yourself. Now, one of the biggest challenges that many English learners face is thinking too much before they actually speak. They start asking themselves all sorts of questions, like, is this sentence even grammatically correct? Did I use the right tense for the verb in this situation? What exactly is the perfect English word for this specific idea I have? And what happens when you think too much? Well, it makes you stop speaking. You kind of freeze up, and then the conversation can feel a little bit strange and definitely not very easy or natural. But when you start to speak using these ready-made word groups, your brain doesn't have to stop and try to build sentences from individual words every single time. Instead, it starts to remember these ready-made chunks, which really helps you to speak more automatically and with a lot more confidence. So, let me give you just a few more real-life examples of these word groups that people who speak English every day use all the time, and just a simple way to understand what they mean. You might hear someone say, I'm heading out. And the simple meaning of that is, I am leaving now. Another one is, give me a sec, and the simple meaning there is, wait a short time. And just a little note here, SAC is just a short way of saying second. And finally, you might hear someone say, I didn't catch that. And the simple meaning of that is, I didn't hear or understand what you said. It's actually a very nice and polite way to ask someone to say something again. And just a note, the word catch here means to hear or understand. These are the kinds of easy, everyday things that people who speak English natively say all the time. And learning and actively using these kinds of word groups will really help you to speak more easily and sound much more natural. Alright, now it's your turn to really get involved and practice with me. This is the part where you're actually going to train your speaking muscles, so please do your best to participate out loud. I'm going to say each of these useful groups of words 2 times. And after I say it, I want you to say it right after me, and make sure you're saying it out loud, not just in your head. This really helps your mouth and your brain get used to the sounds and the natural flow of English. Pay attention to how I pronounce the words and how they naturally go together. Ready to give it a try? let's start with the first one. I say, what's going on? And this means, what is happening? Or, how are things? Now you say it, what's going on? Okay, let's say it one more time. I say, what's going on? Now you say it, what's going on? Good job. Let's try the next one. I say, I'm not sure yet. And this means, I don't know right now, but maybe later. Now you say it, I'm not sure yet. Okay, let's say it again. I say, I'm not sure yet. Now you say it, I'm not sure yet. Well done. Here is the next useful group of words for you. I say, that's a good point. And this means, I agree with what you just said. Remember, point is an idea. Now you say it, that's a good point. Okay, let's say it again. I say, that's a good point. Now you say it, that's a good point. You're doing great. Let's practice another really common one. I say, let's get started. And this simply means, let's begin. Now you say it, let's get started. Okay, let's say it again. I say, let's get started. Now you say it, let's get started. Alright, just one more for us to practice together right now. I say, no worries. And this means, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Now you say it, no worries. Okay, let's say it one last time for this practice. I say, no worries. Now you say it, no worries. Fantastic job. You are now actively training your mouth and your brain to use these really natural English phrases. Now, here's a very, very important tip to help you really remember these word groups and make them stick. Say them again and again. Try to say these 5 groups of words every single day, even if it's just for a short period of time, maybe 5 minutes. Say them out loud to yourself when you're doing simple things around the house, like making coffee or just relaxing. The more you actually vocalize them, the more they will become a normal and automatic part of your speaking. And now, for your small task for today, I want you to choose any 2 of the word groups that we just practiced together. Your job for today is to try and actively use those 2 phrases when you talk to someone in English. This could be actually saying them when you're talking to another English learner or someone who speaks English well. Saying them out loud to yourself, maybe even making up a little imaginary conversation where you can naturally fit those groups of words in. For example, you could pretend someone asks you a question, and you answer, I'm not sure yet. But let's get started on finding out. Even writing them in a short message to a friend if it naturally fits what you're talking about. Or, you could even try making a very short video of yourself saying those 2 groups of words in a sentence or 2. Remember, speaking English well isn't about trying to be absolutely perfect right from the very beginning. It's really about learning to speak in a way that feels natural and easy. So, please don't be scared to speak, and definitely don't be afraid to make mistakes, because every single time you try to speak, you are actively learning and you are getting better. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time and effort to make your English speaking even better with EnglightenPro today. I really hope that this talk has given you some helpful ideas and some easy things that you can start doing right now. If you found this lesson helpful, please do click that button to follow us so you don't miss out on more easy and effective ways to improve your English speaking. And if you know someone else who is also on this journey of learning English, please share this talk with them. It might just be the thing that really helps them to speak more easily and confidently. Remember, your journey to speaking English well is a personal one, and every single time you speak, every single time you practice, you are taking a big and important step forward. So please keep going, keep speaking, and keep shining. I will be right here with you in our next talk, ready and excited to help you even more. Until then, happy speaking! Thank you for watching, and wish you all the best. See you in the next episodes.